Hey, welcome to Matrix Talk on this. What is this? April the
It's
7th.
April
Oh
the
my,
7th.
2023. And we're going to talk a little bit about hoarder shows, The Matrix, and intrinsic motivation. Just to have a little bit of fun and go through how you can view things from the using the matrix diagram. So we don't. Oh, there's a couple of people with us. That's
Oh,
great.
nice. Yeah.
Producing this sort of as a recording. It's being beamed over to YouTube, so people interested in hoarders and such might enjoy our look at this. And by the way, folks, I don't know if you've looked. Uh, people with us live and on the recordings. I mean, even on YouTube, you can type in hoarders and
Just type in Hoarder and you'll come to the show.
You'll get shows, whole hour-long shows.
And here's a warning to you. If you do that, don't be surprised if they keep showing up in your YouTube feed then
Right.
afterwards.
You'll get that pretty quick. But I thought you would. Don't be surprised if you feel like taking a shower.
Oh, yeah. Well, that would be the warning, right? Getting through even one episode. Let's just put it that way. Getting through a full episode without wanting to go for relief.
Well, especially like for the dead cat episodes and stuff.
Yeah, I had to get up a couple of times for that one. Yeah.
Oh, they're pretty intense. So just so you know, housekeeping. If somebody's here, by all means, chat in. Just like Phil. Phil's from Langhorne. I'm from Maine. If you chat in where you're from, that'd be fabulous.
A couple of people on, yeah.
In the upper right, you can follow us. And there's a ginormous green button where you can support us on Patreon, which would be way cool. And so more. Good thing we waited like 4 people that showed up.
Yeah, look at that.
Boom, boom, boom. All right. Well, back once again for you people who showed up, and even if you're in Crowdcast listening to the recording, you can still chat in where you're from.
Oh yeah.
And so chat in where you're from.
Make your mark.
And people, sometimes chat's lively. People want to chat in some, and other times it's not. We've grown accustomed to it, but we are here. I'm going to do a little bit about hoarder shows, and there's literally at least 2, if not 3, but at least 2 hoarder shows that I know of. They may not be produced now, but they were in the last several years.
Yeah.
And several seasons of them. Boston, Sherry.
Hey, Boston.
I know, Boston. Actually, I get there several times a year. I'm only up here in Maine, like 2.5 hours away from you, Sherry. So get down to Logan and the aquarium, stuff like that.
Oh, yes.
So, Chicago, Nina from Chicago. Yay, Chicago.
Nice. Welcome.
I got some really good pizza in Chicago once. I remember.
Oh, Chicago pizza is delicious.
I've been there a few times actually. So. And flown through O'Hare even more. So always an experience flying through O'Hare. Of course, flying through Logan's also another. The airports aren't usually synonymous with great, but guess who knows? They try. Well, let's do some hoarders. Okay, so
yeah, let's do it.
So, and looking at one of these hoarder shows, now the way they're all done is a couple of 2 or 3 or 4 kinds of experts show up to said hoarder house, right? It's on one of the shows, it's oftentimes a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Yeah. Usually it's a 1-2 like that, right?
Right. And accompanied by a organizing expert,
Yeah, organizational specialist.
specialist
Right.
expert, and trash hauling.
And lots of you haul it trucks.
A
Got
crew.
junk trucks. That's what they
Yeah,
are.
yeah. You may have seen them run. I have. I've
Yeah.
seen them on the road.
They have the blue and green banners, got junk,
They got more than one, but that's what's really recognizable. And so those show up, and then they work with somebody who has hoarded their house. Even in my small town where I live,
Oh, Sherry says she said 2 former colleagues who were specialists. There you go.
oh yeah. Well, I've actually, strangely enough, I have met 2 of the psychologists that do the hoarder shows. I mean, I'm not.
Sherry has 2 on the show. How about that? Cool.
Yeah, I know a couple of them as well. So strangely enough, as well. And as a matter of fact, one of them, he was on the first season and disappeared. DJ did the first interview of me ever about my act work.
Oh.
He shows up on one of the hoarder shows. And then another one, I actually chatted with him quite a while at an act conference. Why he was there, I don't know, but can't remember his name. But anyways, fun stuff. That's what they do. And so this team shows up. I'll tell you a little bit. In America, they're going to do it in 2-3 days. That's the United States.
Yeah.
Now, there's British hoarder shows too, and they're more kindler, gentler. They're going to take weeks or even months to go through this process. Okay. So de-hoarding the house, obviously, if you remove the hoarder and just let the junk people in with all the big old roll-offs, away goes the junk.
Yeah. The easy peasy way. Ha ha.
And you'd say, well, how do they decide? Well, a lot of this stuff is just, it's in decrepit.
No, it's beyond saving.
Right. I mean, it is junk. It is trash. I mean, it would be, I'm sure on their thing, illegal for them to keep it. It's so bad. So that was, if the hoarder were not there, that is not recommended. So they're getting rid of the hoarder, especially if you've hired in a big old crew. That's easy. But of course, they don't do it that way.
No.
And so they talk to the hoarder. The shows are pretty good. They talk to the hoarder, and it's like, well, how does this start? Which, by the way, upwards of like 10% of the population's hoarder. It's amazing.
Amazing percentage.
I mean, when I first started hearing,
going up, right? Yeah,
it was like 2%. Now it's up to 10%. And given that it's real easy for me to go in my small town, I mean, I live in a rural place. There are no neighborhoods. It's all rural. And I can go find you a couple of 3 or 4 hoarder houses quick. And now that I know what they look like, every place I go, I find them, I see them. And Phil knows where. There's some in his neighborhood.
There's a few around here too. Oh yeah.
I mean, this is not an uncommon thing.
No.
Well, if you want 10% easy, so out of every 100 houses, 10 of them is a hoarder house.
There you go.
Even if it was only 5% for every 100 houses.
So you walk around your neighborhood and you go, okay.
You look at 100 houses, you're going to find a hoarder house.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to tell. It's like, now there's different ones. Sometimes the yard looks okay, but it's the windows that always tell you. Especially the basement and downstairs windows are just blocked.
You can't see in.
Right. That's a hoarder. Now, some of them are yard hoarders, and so they hoard out the whole yard and the inside. Some keep their yard looking pretty good, but the inside is hoarded out. So how does this start? Well, we figure from a matrix point of view, looking at it from the matrix, it probably starts off over there on the right, satisfaction. And you'll hear these stories. Oh, hi, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
You'll hear these stories. I started going to thrift stores with my daughter, or
Started collecting Beanie Babies.
yeah, something like that. For themselves or even with a friend or family member. It started that way. So they're getting some social benefit out of it, having a little bit of fun and this and that. So at least the way the stories go on them, to us, it sounds like they would be sorted, SORTED. We would sort the behavior over on the right-hand side to begin with. Somewhere along the line, that's not what's going on at all, and it's very much so. And you can even see it because they'll film these people going to thrift stores. By the way, if you watch these hoarder shows, you will never look at a thrift store the same again.
Yeah.
They are hoarder
supplies for hoarders, right?
Yeah. That's what, like,
among other things, not
that's
right.
why those things stay in business.
Yeah.
Because the hoarders,
people keep coming back getting stuff.
So even this day and age with $20 bill in a thrift store, you can come up with a bag of stuff.
A lot of stuff.
And so you can see then it's relief. It's very much so relief. They've gone to they just got to go to the store. They got to drink the liquor, they got to do the thing. Now, what do they do when they get back home? And they show this on the shows, and I totally believe this, that they take the bag of stuff and throw it on top of the pile. And I mean, literally a pile. And they don't even open the bag. It's gone. Yeah, so total relief move, no satisfaction, no looking at the trinkets, no look. It was totally. I went and got my hit, got the relief, and they're waiting. Some people solve the relief move by dumpster diving, which, and others, they have an old pickup truck or a SUV with a trailer, and in most places, there's free stuff. People, especially in the spring and stuff, they'll put free stuff out at the end of the driveway. You ever have that happen around your place?
Oh yeah, stuff doesn't stay long.
No, the hoarders come get it.
Yeah, they come by and they quick.
Either the people.
I didn't think anybody'd want that. Boom, it's gone.
Yeah. And it's either the scrap metal junkers or and now I know it's the hoarders.
Yeah.
They grab it. Yeah. There's more than one way, but these are relief moves, folks. You watch these, they're relief. So what we're saying is, like, a psychologist, and I actually could go talk to a couple of them, and we could say, well, you could show the hoarder, and they would be sort of interested.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, what you described sounds like it was, you were initially doing this for satisfaction.
And we're here.
Yeah. And then later on, it's a sense of relief that you need to, get this stuff and fill up your house. They got to fill up the room.
Oh, yeah.
And so an empty room is good. That doesn't feel good to them. Nope. And to get relief from that they then go to the thrift store, the dumpster, or whatever, and start putting stuff in. And what relief! This feels wonderful. And of course, once you get into that cycle of relief, that you do a junk run, come home, yes,
toss it,
leaving. But if really a day or less, or maybe even within hours, you got to go get more stuff.
You got the itch.
You got the itch. You got to go satisfy the itch and go get more stuff. So these hoarders, I mean, their spirals on the left would essentially be black. I mean, these people make alcoholics look pretty good, and some of them have some substance use problems. Yeah, I mean, it's really really intense. So now there you go. So now you got these people, they're hoarding up the place in these wild ass. So would that make the empty room the SD?
Discriminative stimulus. I think.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, because you can see they don't. Once they get these places cleaned out, they have trouble with that. The empty room.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you could see them on the show. They get all shaky and
yeah. There is much yucky stuff shows up now, and also the stories you hear. Initially, they come in, it's clean. They're, oh my God, this is so wonderful. You've been so great.
Yeah.
And folks, in all honesty, most of it doesn't hold. It doesn't. A few cases they do. They do keep their place up. They always talk about they need aftercare. That means an organizer comes in once a week or twice a week and keeps them on the straight and narrow. And with that helps. And maybe one person I remember seeing probably did it on her own. She just, whatever it was, it changed, but it's still pretty rare. So anyway, our main thing is looking at it. Yeah, probably starts off with a few satisfaction loops, gets over here on the getting rid of yucky stuff, which is, I need to acquire. And I mean, they acquire nasty stuff. The diagnostic category feces, animal feces, dirty diapers and stuff. No kidding, folks. It's bags of trash and stuff. And it's all acquire. And to get oh my God, I got to acquire, go get it. Relief. And then here it goes again. Got to acquire, got to fill up the space, go get it. Relief. And of course, in our society, there's this, in reality, some of these people just push around a shopping cart that they found and load up at a dumpster.
Yeah.
All it requires is their feet and pushing around, So you can get all the way down to that level of doing that. So that's how we see the process of and something that we think could be shown to hoarders. I mean, and we would be showing it to them. We wouldn't be dissing on them.
No.
Most of these people have gotten themselves in a pickle, though, because the relatives or the town or both, and especially when the town has come after them, sent the code enforcement officer.
Yeah, or protective services or whatever the case may be.
Whatever. In the case of the town, they get fines. Some of these people are up to $250,000 and stuff in fines. It's really crazy. And mainly because the towns really don't want to do anything. This is not what they want to do. They don't want to kick people out of their houses. But it gets to be a real mess. And most of them, their plumbing's not working. Their electricity's been shut off.
Yep.
These places are really decrepit. So anyway, you go in and you show them this pattern. Great. We haven't done it. Why not? Because what we see happening, and here's what it comes in the intrinsic motivation. And you watch enough of this stuff, and it really fits for many other diagnoses of that the psychologists that some of us actually know, a couple of them and stuff, they're essentially going in and trying to, and Phil and I have decided to call it install, INSTALL, install. They're trying to install intrinsic motivation. and that's it. You're trying to get people intrinsically motivated to
Clean up
change
their stuff.
that extraordinarily stuck pattern. That pattern. So you're going in and saying, we'll help you clean it up. But then after that, you have to have your own intrinsic motivation. They don't say it that way, but that's what's going on. And so they're installers of intrinsic motivation. You can just imagine.
How well.
It's not pretty, folks.
No.
It's not pretty. As these people that have extraordinarily strong attachments to junk. I mean, talk about, and here's where we go into RFT, relational frame theory. Relational frame theory is a way of talking about how much, there was a sentimental value gets attached to a word or an object or something. And these people, of course, are just gonzo on it, of that every little piece of trash has meaning, deep meaning to them. And all the way down to some of them are, and any of you that's a handy person out there knows you got something and you got like a piece of wire or something, and you think about throwing it away, and you go, you know what? I'm going to keep that because I might have a use for that.
I could use that later. Yeah,
later on. Well,
right.
Some people take that to wild extreme. So you have that version as well. So it's I might use it someday. But some of them are fun because it's usually a guy, and the projects, like it's 5,700 projects. I mean, it's like more projects than the most handy person in the universe could fix in the next 100 years. And that is, the junk cars and vacuum sweepers and all kinds of stuff they're going to fix. They swear they're going to fix. But anyway, so whatever it is, they're in this horrible stuck pattern. This is like, that. And we're going to come in and we're going to instill intrinsic motivation. And so the way they do it is they set up a tent outside. Usually it's nicer weather. They bring the stuff out and somebody sits with the hoarder and they start sorting.
Ta-da! What we're going to keep and what we're going to throw away.
And the main two categories are keep and throw away.
Right.
Now, the hoarder usually quickly figures out to get a third category in there.
Oh, yeah.
The maybes.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's, I know one definite, it's give away to charity.
Oh, yeah, give it away to charity. Right.
Give it away to charity. So, and some of that's legit. I mean, I'll give it that. I mean, the object is still fairly nice, so it could. I have watched a couple of the shows where the charity called them up and said, enough's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough charity from you guys.
We can't hold any more of that stuff. So anyway, but the big category is keep. Of course, the biggest one is keep, because that keep needs to be somewhere less than 10% of what they got.
Right.
No kidding.
Oh.
Yeah.
All this stuff can't fit back in the house is the problem.
No, literally, the person, it won't fit. It won't, But
you can't live in this house with all this.
In these houses, some of them, the rooms are literally stacked within 6 inches of the ceiling.
High.
Like you couldn't get in there and crawl on top of it. There wouldn't be enough space for your body on top of it. They get that bad. So think of that. If you've got that many layers of junk, well, you've got to get rid of 90% of that stuff to get it down to where you can get some floor showing so you can walk around. So it's intense. So how are we going to, and so of course, that is it. Now we're watching the process of the installation of intrinsic motivation. That's it. I don't care. I think most of them say they're doing CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Call it what you want. They're installing intrinsic motivation.
They're trying to do this.
They're trying to say, okay, you're going to have the internal stuff going, that you're
Yeah.
going to change your ways, and you're not going to do that duck loop stuff.
Not going to do this stuff.
They're not going to do that.
You change your ways because of this stuff here.
Right. And you're going to fly right. And so it becomes, so if you'll watch it from that point of view, of that they're trying to install intrinsic motivation, it becomes an interesting watch. That's our point in doing this show.
Fascinating.
So if for those of you who watch Hoarder shows, you can see look for the as they tell the story about the start, the satisfaction moves start. I was collecting dolls.
Yeah.
And it got out of hand.
I was going for the bargains. I was whatever, right?
Many of them are bargain hunters.
Yeah, they're bargains, right? Oh,
listen, what it is. We call on the left-hand side in the upper, behaviors, we call them sophisticated relief moves.
Right.
So the bargain is one of the sophisticated relief moves.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. Of course, I have to buy this.
I have to.
A bargain.
It's a bargain. I can't pass it up. I saw this. I just couldn't pass it up.
And if we were having a conversation with them, we would point out, oh, okay, cool. That's a sophisticated relief move. There you go. Now we're a non-judgmental crowd. Then we don't have to evict anybody because their house is trashed out or anything.
Nope.
I mean, if somehow, some way I was forced into such a thing, okay, but at least I would absolutely know what I'm up to, which is trying to install intrinsic motivation to change this behavior. That's of which, of course, so far that has not happened.
Nope.
Most of us haven't. Most of us are intrinsically motivated to clean up when things get too messy. Now, we all have variations on how messy we let it become, but in most cases, even the worst of us is not even close to one of these hoarder people. we're not talking. I'm amazed at how bad they are. So back to it. You're going to install intrinsic motivation. How are you going to do it? Discussion. It was all organized. What?
Oh, Linda's saying how she was her aunt. They took her stuff out.
The 3 18-wheelers. Yep. There you go. She knows somebody. She knew one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They had one, just to break off of it. She had hoarded a mansion, literally a mansion. Had hoarded the whole damn thing. And so a couple of guys came in and bought it that were very well heeled and wanted to fix it up. And they were being really nice to this lady, and they were coming in and hauling out. In the end, she wanted to keep a bunch of stuff, and she put it in the street. And the city comes along and says it can't be in the street. And so the stuff that she finally wanted to keep, of which was a few trucks worth, they had the claw grabbers hauled it off, and she drove away from that thing in some kind of trailer or something, still hoarding to the very end. They installed no intrinsic motivation whatsoever. Some of these people at least fake it some. But so looking at it from that point of view, it's extraordinarily hard to instill, cajole intrinsic motivation. which is really what you're up to. And my hat's off to people. I mean, they really care. They're trying to help these people out.
Oh yeah,
They're trying to help them out. I'm not in any way, form dissing on them.
oh they need the assistance. They need all the help they can get.
But if you look at it from the point of view of like, well, I have shown up here to install intrinsic motivation. Like, whoa. So what would Phil and I do? Well, we'd show them the matrix.
We get this baby up as quickly as we could.
We would. And every chance we got would be saying, oh, so now you're noticing yourself do that. Cool.
Doing the hoarding.
Right. And so because the intrinsic motivation isn't going to be installed unless the person is noticing their behavior, what behaviors they're doing. So, and then there's obviously no guarantee whatsoever that even that's going to work, but at least they would be noticing doing that. So we always wanted to look at it that way because we talk so much about laying off and letting people's intrinsic motivation take over. That's what we do. So we need a better way. It was wow, and it was all organized. She died. Oh my goodness, Linda's writing poetry over here.
Right,
organized. She died.
Oh man, it's like a haiku.
That's rough.
Yeah.
So we need a better way. Yeah, we do need a better way, right? And but think about it. We're talking about needing a better way to, I'll use a kinder word, instill intrinsic motivation into another human being. And when you look at it that way, you can see why it's so extraordinarily hard.
Devilishly hard.
Right. So it's not, a lot of it they're saying, well, we need to fix the diagnosis of hoarder because it is the DSM.
Oh yeah.
Diagnosis.
Yes. So
they have some intrinsic.
Yeah.
Everybody's got some.
They got it. Even they have it.
But how do you grab a hold of that little bit? I guess they still go get something to eat. The way some of these people eat would blow your mind.
Oh,
blow your mind. I mean, literally their kitchens are just
they can't cook in them. They can't do anything in them.
They'll be cooking next to loose papers with a toaster oven.
Yeah.
It's just fire waiting to happen. It's awful. So the only reason I'm into it, they do have enough, sort of hunger, intrinsic motivation to eat a little bit, to keep some food going in. But you said it is they're already, they have a touch of it.
Yeah.
But it is not in any way, shape, nor form pointed toward cleaning.
Right.
Most of us have an intrinsic motivation to clean, neaten up our surroundings.
Make a clean space make a livable space for ourselves.
Right. And then you get into the usual, oh, that person doesn't mind some clutter. Once you see one of these hoarder houses, a little bit of clutter ain't.
Yeah, no.
Fine. This person, I see some dust around their house. They're really not a neat nick about dusting. Once again, fine. Not a problem. But there's always this level of, and then of course there's all the way up to the neat nicks. But there's always that intrinsic motivation to clean your surroundings. They don't have that. Some of them, I guess they have it divvied up. Somehow they keep the outside clean, but I don't know how they do that.
Yeah, the outside of the houses look pretty good and cared for.
And some of them, and other ones, it's just
right.
Like a bomb went off. A trash bomb went off. and the debris landed in the yard. So what was it? But once you look at it from the point of view of installing the intrinsic motivation to one, clean up, and two, keep something cleaned up, I'm not sure. You can tell some of them take sort of a psychodynamic. Well, they always, now I think this is in part the TV show, but it probably not. There always has to be a story.
Oh, yes.
There's a usually trauma,
Yes,
traumatic.
they lost something, they lost someone, right?
And that may have been the seeds of the stuck loops. That may well have been. That no longer has any bearing whatsoever
It's yeah.
on maintaining the stuck loop.
No.
It's good for a story. It's good to hear the person's tragedies and all, but that's not what maintaining.
Not keeping this thing going.
I'm not keeping that going. That's what may have helped start it, but they do tend to use a little bit of a psychodynamic. We'll talk a lot about your childhood and your traumatic memories.
Oh, yeah.
See if that helps. Okay. I'm not dissing on it. I'm saying that's what they try.
Give it a shot.
Some try the more CBT, correct your thoughts and feelings. But once again, it's about installing intrinsic motivation. So name your others, just teach them straight out. The organizer,
education, right?
Educational. They just teach them how to organize.
Bring in an organizer,
and they'll sit with you and train you how to organize. Most of them get fired.
Yeah.
I mean, after the show, not during some of them get fired during the show. But
part of the
others, they always put up a little thing about what happened. And the organizers is no longer being invited in. The ones that make it, I think, are the ones that probably keep the organizer. I think it's something like having a house cleaner. So you have somebody come in and clear the junk and help you.
Which is a more workable, sophisticated relief move, which is to get somebody else to come in and clean up for you.
So you would be intrinsically motivated. I don't know. It
might be. Exactly. We're thinking this through. Might be intrinsically, but okay, I can bring somebody else in and allow them to clean up my stuff a bit.
Now we get into another thing as we go on. This all has to do with defending the self. Obviously, all this stuff has become relationally framed, because we use relational frame theory because we know that has been framed onto the self, and so it's a part of the self. So throwing away an envelope from 1972, an envelope of junk mail from 1972.
Yeah.
I don't mean a letter. I mean,
from Publishers Clearinghouse.
Right. From 1972 is somehow attached, framed onto the self, and to get rid of it, to throw it in the trash, at least initially, is like losing a piece of me. So you see it on these people. So with each and every one, there's this loss of the self. I'm losing part of myself.
Yeah. They'll say, I'll be losing my memories.
Yep. I'll be losing which is the self. We are. That's what we are, is our memories. And so you'll be losing the self. So that is about intrinsic motivation to get rid of parts of yourself.
Yeah. Who's going to sign up for that one? That's a tricky graft right there.
It comes as no surprise that a lot of this is not successful. I have talked to psychologists that are not on TV, but they do work with hoarders, and the not success rate is pretty high.
Yeah. I've had a few of my colleagues who went down that route.
But I think all of it, the stuck loops, the relief, the loss of the identity, loss of yourself. It's all of this that is working against this installation of intrinsic motivation to clean things up. It's a mess. It's really hard, but it's just a look at it from the matrix, and because that's how we look at it. We're watching for. Well, I guess I watch everybody. I even watch the psychologists in terms of the matrix.
Yeah.
But they're
How are their words and actions working?
what kind of relief moves are they doing?
Yep.
What kind of satisfaction moves are they doing? Just the whole thing. You just get into looking at, well, it's an analysis of behavior, and but they have a job to do, which is to establish rapport.
Number one, connect.
And from my point of view, and maybe Phil's, and then get about installing the intrinsic.
And then, right. And then try to do some collaborating.
Which the long term is like, well, they're supposed to become motivated.
Yeah.
To do this on their own.
Like magically motivated.
Magic is a good word, right? So if you look at anything we do, like Linda's been chatting a lot, as far as stopping smoking or stopping drinking or any of this stuff ends up being of these substance use or stuff use patterns.
Just same as this.
Right. It's the same. From our point of view, it's all
stuff. It's all the same thing.
Right, it's all the same thing. So it's then how are you instilling, shouldn't be, taking advantage of somebody's, not taking advantage, building upon somebody's existing intrinsic motivation.
Taking what they already know and what's important to them.
Right. So we're going to build that. Now, we haven't tried this, and I doubt if I will.
But I don't see any big opportunities.
That would be it. So from our point of view, it would be, we'd show the diagram. We definitely would. And we're gonna try and find and be able to diagram it, a little bit of intrinsic motivation to do something toward something that's important. A person, a pet, anything.
Over here.
And then build on that.
From there.
Because we know that at the end of the day, it's what carries people is intrinsic motivation. These
two are connected.
Yeah. We show people this diagram and then we say, bye. See you later.
Go forth and do your thing.
Go forth. And what we're doing with that is then we're just waiting to see what they do, what they are motivated to do on their own.
Yep.
Are they motivated to change the pattern? There goes back to the pattern recognition. That's the pattern that Phil's pointing out.
Pattern.
Are they intrinsically motivated to change that pattern on their own?
Shift.
So we're using this long game. We'll show it to you and we'll see you in the future. Obviously, on a Hoarder show, that's not how they're going to do it.
No. They got 2 days.
Right. Even if they showed them this diagram, they got to keep hammering with that diagram at them for 2 days.
Yeah. Why they bring the trucks in and all the other stuff that they do, right? Yeah.
Could be tried. I mean, I guarantee, here's what I can guarantee. It would probably be every bit as successful as everything else they're doing, because it's not.
Yeah. It couldn't be any worse.
Right. I mean, it really can't be much
Can't do any more damage there.
And we're certainly in the do no harm kind of category.
Right.
So we're going to be, but we would go at it from that point of view.
Yeah.
That let's take what little bit of intrinsic motivation we can find and let's draw it for the person.
Right
Let's
here.
do this whole picture for them and say, the basic thing is you're going to try and grow this little seed of intrinsic motivation into one that ends up you keep the place clean. And if you've got a real attachment to all your stuff, what would they call that in ACT terms? They would call that diffusion.
Yes.
Right? Lots and lots and lots of diffusion.
Tons and tons and tons.
And you watch them actually do that, sitting there at the table, going through item by item by item.
Oh, yeah.
Which almost happens on all of these, because the person quickly learns delay is my friend, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially if I can feel it, if I can put it in my hands. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah, it feels so good. But then they're taking an hour to go through one box.
A bag.
Well,
a bag of pot holders.
Right.
Oh, no, we need to keep these.
Yeah. So in 8 hours, you got nowhere. And remember,
delay.
All right. Delay is my friend.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So, which is, of course, an away. I mean, what we just call
right.
They can feel the relief. I'm getting to keep my stuff. Oh,
Yeah,
this feels
cool.
so great. And in looking at it another way, I'm preserving myself, preserving my identity.
I'm keeping me intact.
I'm keeping
Can't lose me.
So we're very careful. And now, to their credit, the psychologists and the psychiatrists, they're pretty careful about that.
They are. They're very respectful, I would say.
They're very respectful of that. They're not. They know the person's ego.
They don't go in there and say, what are you doing? You can't be, this is none of that kind of stuff.
Well, that just blows up.
Yeah, right.
There's lots of stories of like the person had to go in for major surgery. So they're in the hospital for a few weeks. Family comes in the house.
Sneaks in. Yeah.
Cleans it out.
Yeah.
The relationships are never repaired. Never.
Nope.
I don't mean to laugh, but I mean it just blows the relationship.
Yep.
And if you look at it from the point of view of the self, I mean, they were everything but murdered, abused, sexually.
It is. It's like a death. It's
right. It's just right next to death. It just really destroys. They never get over being pissed off about it. Now, I know that I can tell you a personal story of somebody that I knew. I won't name any names, but this person's got sick, just like what we're talking about, and their sons came in and this was a hoarder, by the way, and made enough room so you could get up and down the steps, meaning they had to take some stuff and rearrange it just to make a path up and down the steps. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
She never forgave them.
Yeah.
Never.
Oh.
She was forever, and for the rest of her life, convinced they had thrown her stuff away.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I believe them. They did not. They just moved it. But in the moving of it, she couldn't track,
She couldn't get past it. Yep.
Right. And she never forgave them for it. That was just moving some stuff.
Yep. You people cannot be trusted anymore. That's it.
Oh, no. This was sons.
Yeah. Yeah. Horrible.
Cannot trust them anymore. And they were just trying to be nice, do something nice. But even that, and imagine what happens when they come in and just toss everything.
Well, yeah, that's annihilation right there.
Yeah. So, but it's all it has to do with the self. So we would go in and you would have to go through. By the way, the British, if I didn't mention it before, the British shows go slower. And it just reflects our two cultures, Man, in the United States, they haul up, but they got 18 trucks out front.
They're all there. The whole crew, there they are waiting. That suits on. They go flying in there.
We're gonna do it all now with drama. and it's fun. It is fun to watch the American Hoarder show and then a British, and the British are being so much kindler and gentler and slow about it. I think it has something to do with their healthcare system too. They don't have to pay for the psychologists and stuff.
Yeah.
For the national.
There's a safety net in place.
So now everybody, let's have some fun. One, get your matrix up and watch a Hoarder show.
Yeah. Seriously, draw it out. Why?
Draw your matrix and start.
Where would this go? What I'm seeing here right now.
Start sorting the stuff of the Hoarder show. And then start and remember that this person has all their self is tied up in this stuff. You know, to look at their hoard is to look at them. It is them. You take a piece of trash and throw it away, you just throw away a piece of them.
Oh.
Yeah, it's painful to them. So in that, you're trying to instill or grow the intrinsic, grow further the intrinsic motivation within this person to help clean this up and then keep it clean. How are you going to go about doing it? There is no answer for that. You're not going to do Wikipedia and find the answer to this.
Yeah, it does not exist.
You're going to get CBT, psychodynamics, whatever, it don't matter. I don't have the answer. I just know that I would muck around with it with the matrix.
We would be down here.
Right. I'd be mucking around with it, but I would be very clear about what I was trying to do, which is help them out, become motivated to do this on their own.
Yeah.
A lot of them wouldn't. But that's us just talking about it. We decided we'd have some fun and talk about a Hoarder show and how we see it from the point of view of the matrix. And of our thing of there's two kinds of motivation, extrinsic and intrinsic.
I'm out here.
And believe you me, when the you got junk trucks show up in the front lawn, that's extrinsic motivation.
Or they're threatening to evict you or take it away. That's your extrinsic motivation, right there.
Oh yeah, and when the code enforcement and the police are showing up, the extrinsic motivators are piling on at you, and of course these people. And in the face of all that, they're trying to grow this intrinsic motivation. Yeah. So my hat's off to all the people who try. Their heart's in the right place.
They're wonderful people.
If they ever want to let Phil and I in and do one, we'll have our whiteboard.
Yep.
And and just as we end, literally think of the front yard. They got the little, Sam's Club tent, whatever those things are. You can get them at Dick's Sporting Goods and stuff.
Right.
For sporting events and stuff. They're underneath there. Well, we would have the whiteboard up and they would bring out an item and we're going to go item 5 senses. What's going on in your mind?
Down here.
Are you going for relief?
Which way you leaning here?
Are you going for satisfaction? And we would repeat that a whole bunch of times.
Many, 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 many times.
Trying to get at and be very upfront in that, this is all an exercise and see if you can develop the motivation to clean this up and keep it clean. That's what it's about. And maybe it's the case that you don't want to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it, folks. That's the end of the day. If the person doesn't want to do it, they don't want to do it. You could wish like heck that they would.
Oh. plead, cajole, illustrate, all of those things that we do.
End of the day, their call. Their call. But we would show them the diagram. We would do it. Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe someday somebody will try it.
You know, wouldn't that be interesting if we
That
turned
would
off
be
one of these
interesting.
shows?
See 'em
Somebody
stand
pulled out a
out in the
whiteboard and like,
yard
hey,
with the Matrix.
yeah.
You
So we
know,
can start it to it. Let's
what was you were on potholders. So here are the potholders.
Yeah.
5 senses experience. What's your mental experience? Oh, Aunt Ethel.
Yes. Thanksgiving.
But it's got a stain on it. That's from the gravy stain
Yeah.
from 1968.
Yeah, that was Uncle Harry did that. Yeah.
And that's the stuff of this, folks.
Yep.
And that's the self is attached to all of it. And you just go through it. You would go through it one at a time. That's what we would try. Work just as well as
we
anything
think
else.
it's worth a shot.
Yeah, it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Maybe. But we're not going to go looking for this work.
Oh, well, wait a minute. Linda says she needs one.
I need a hoarder. Oh. I wonder if any of them would hire themselves out.
You know, this could be
That would be
a source of motivation.
That would be interesting. You
Yeah.
go find yourself a hoarder house and go knock on their door.
Yeah.
I would like to hire you. I need a hoarder.
You seem to be awfully good at this stuff. You look like you're a professional.
Now, don't you know that would give them a different experience?
Yeah, it certainly would. That would shift the perspective.
But then again, maybe they don't see themselves as a hoarder. So,
yeah, that's true.
oh, that's right. Because a lot of them, they'll ask them, "Are you a hoarder?"
Oh.
And I mean, they'll be standing on top of a pile of trash in the middle of their house, and they'll go, "No, I don't see it." Their 5 senses experiences, the way it gets into their mind is quite different than usual. But anyway, it'd be fun. I want one. Yes, give it a try. All right, go find a hoarder. But we would work the matrix with them and be kind and non-judgmental the whole way.
Respectful.
There's just no way around it. That's that's the way we're
You're
going
not going to get anybody to budge otherwise. If you get them to budge at all.
Our thing is they budge. They
Yeah.
don't. I mean, I understand that the city might finally have to come in and condemn a place, haul everything off.
It happens.
You know, it just happens. It just does. And, and you can see where that has to happen sometimes. It just does. It becomes, that's a health hazard. It's a fire hazard.
Yeah, it's beyond repair. It's beyond
it's just a hazard to the other people around. So you can see where that happens, but I don't know about changing the hoarder. But we would give it a shot. We would go in with our diagram and give it a shot. But have fun with your show. Look at it, but keep looking and saying, "Oh, they're trying to instill intrinsic motivation." We call it install because we like that idea that you got your little toolbox and you show up.
You're an installer.
I'm here to install your intrinsic motivation,
like a carpet installer or a window installer or a washing machine installer.
But maybe that's what Phil and I are. We're installers of intrinsic motivation.
You know what? This is what we come down to, Kevin. It's finally been revealed. We're installers.
Oh, well. I will remain intrinsically motivated to show up and do these crowdcasts, except we made the executive decision not to do one on this coming Monday after Easter.
Yeah.
We figure people will have a food hangover and whatever. So many people are on holiday and stuff. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed our trip through Hoarders. Do watch a show or two. It's educational.
Oh yeah,
no doubt about it.
It'll open your eyes.
Yeah, open your eyes to real problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well I'm going to go. Oh, and how I feel after watching a Hoarder I'm gonna go clean something.
That's exactly what I did the other day. I went out and started cleaning my garage.
What it does do is become an extrinsic motivation
Yeah.
to go clean something up. You know. So I'll go do that.
All right, buddy.
Bye bye.
Take care.